How's it going, y'all? My name is Aiden Anderson, and this is the Moscow Minutes. I'll be bringing you the latest from the Latah County Commissioner meetings from the week of April 24th, 2022. Some highlights from this week include an ARPA beneficiary agreement with the Latah Recovery Center, property tax exemptions, and a request from the Clearwater County Sheriff. Let's get into it. Monday began with a request to approve the ARPA beneficiary agreement with the Latah Recovery Center. This agreement was the final piece of paperwork that committed $200,000 to the Recovery Center, and their intended use of the money was to purchase a property to use as an Oxford house in northeast Moscow, Idaho. At this meeting, there was a discussion involving a former attorney, Shannon Gray, who came in and contended that the decision on the ARPA funds agreement should be pushed back based on the fact that the property which the Latah Recovery Center had settled on is less than 1,000 feet from Moscow Middle School, Moscow Charter School, and the Hamilton Indoor Recreation Center building. At this point, the commissioners agreed to postpone their decision until discussion could take place on Wednesday. The commissioners then approved and signed an amended engagement letter, including a single audit fee with Hayden Ross, and then amended the official county minutes from the February 23rd meeting to correct a clerical error. Apparently, an item on those minutes was listed as having been approved when it had actually been denied. Also on Monday, they approved the chair's signature regarding 2 water rights applications, one of which had reached a settlement agreement and one which was simply a withdrawal of the county's protest. That means that both of those applications will be going forward. Next up on Monday, a round of property tax exemptions. Most of these were approved with several exceptions. One of which was denied was from Kasha Quilts, and that was a situation in which the owners of the property were leasing out to the nonprofit, and the owners were the ones who filed for a property tax exemption. As that is not allowed under Idaho code, the commissioners were forced to deny. Next up, for St. Johannes Evangelist and the Kappa Phi Alpha Phi Delta Theta fraternity, the commissioners withheld making a decision until they received some more information related to percentages and ownership, respectively. For the Appaloosa Horse Club, the commissioners denied the exemption as the administrative organization responsible for the club had reportedly dissolved, which means that it didn't technically exist on January 1st, making an application for a property tax exemption seem complicated and out of place. A denial of the property tax exemption, in this case, will still allow the club to appeal the commissioner's decision, and more information can be determined at that point if the club chooses to do so. Next up, a request from the Clearwater County Sheriff regarding their intern program. This requires a little bit of context. There are quite a few people in Latah County who own boats, and as such, they apply to get their boats registered at the county. Latah County wants to use the funds gathered from such boat registration fees on boat-related items. But seeing as there really aren't many places to use a boat in Latah County itself, they put a percentage of these funds towards boat-related infrastructure in other counties frequented by Latah County boat owners. Clearwater County is one such county, and the commissioners have long used some of their funds from boat-related registrations to help fund the Clearwater Sheriff's intern program. So this item was more or less a renewal of an existing agreement between the two counties for the next year, and that renewal was approved. Wednesday began with a quick tour of the county's newly acquired property on 1313 South Blaine Street in Moscow. The county is hoping to use the building as a new DMV and licensing facility. Following that, the commissioners approved a new retail alcohol beverage license for Suchada's Thai Cuisine, as well as a transfer of an alcohol beverage license from the Garden Lounge to the Breakfast Club. They then filed a separation from employment for a county employee who is seeking opportunities elsewhere. Following an executive session for a client-attorney communication and a personnel issue, the commissioners resumed their discussion regarding the ARPA agreement for the Latah Recovery Center. A good number of local residents, some of them attorneys, some of them with experience in recovery programs, showed up for this portion of the meeting to provide their input. These residents voiced their concerns regarding the planned location of the Latah Recovery Center's Oxford House. These concerns came in a few varieties. First, there was the concern with the establishment being in close proximity to areas frequented by children throughout the year. Second, the fact that the property being in a drug-free zone results in harsher penalties for Oxford House residents if they do in fact relapse. And third, some concerns as to whether or not the zoning of the area would even allow for the house program to exist as it is planned. Now, the ARPA guidelines allow and encourage the use of these funds towards organizations like the Latah Recovery Center. And the commissioner's position was to treat the issue of whether or not the Latah Recovery Center ought to receive funds for their work separately from the details of this particular project. On top of that, it seems as though certain concerns regarding the potential location of the Oxford House, including but not limited to the zoning question, are issues that need to be brought up at the city level, not the county level. Regardless, the commissioners approved and signed the ARPA agreement, giving the Latah Recovery Center the allotted $200,000 worth of funds. My guess is this issue is now likely to come before the Moscow City Council sometime in the near future. After that, the commissioners approved and filed the April 11th Compensation Committee minutes, and alongside that adopted a temporary salary range for each position in their IT department, including a couple temporary positions for the 2021 through 2022 fiscal year. This was followed by a final round of property tax exemptions. All of these were approved except for one for Alpha Kappa Lambda, which missed the April 15th deadline and had to be denied, with the possibility that the applicant could appeal this decision. Lastly, the commissioners went into executive session to discuss a personnel issue. And that's the latest from the Latah County Commissioners. As always, we'll have the relevant links posted with this video, and if you have any questions, let us know. This is Aiden Anderson with the Moscow Minutes. See you next time.